I'm Connor Northrup, and I'm joined by UFC middleweight Phillip Hawes, who earned a 18-second knockout over Jacob Malkoun at UFC 254. What's up, Phillip? How you doing?
Hey, brother, I'm always good. How you doing?
Good, good, good. Now, are you able to enjoy some time off right now, or is it kind of right back to the grind?
Man, we worked so hard to get to where we're at right now. So it's just right back to the grind, trying to get in the rankings, get to that world title. So there's no sleep. I live by a quote. It's rest at the end, not in the middle. So we're just gonna keep it going.
All right, awesome. And obviously, it's been a very solid, 2020 for you. You obviously had the Contender Series and the debut, but you actually had a fight earlier. I think it was back in January too. So, what are the odds that we see you maybe one more time in this year?
The odds are pretty high, if you ask me. I just got to talk to my manager and the UFC matchmakers, but I think we're gonna get back in there in December. Keep the no hype tour going. So
Awesome.
the odds are high.
Yeah. Now, do you know what kind of card yet, or anything like that, or any talks of opponent?
Man, no talks of opponent, but I mean, after going to a pay-per-view main card, I just want to be on pay-per-views now. Like, even if I'm not getting, like, I don't want to do fight night. I want to go pay-per-view. So, well, that's
Yeah.
where you get the eyes. So, yeah. But we'll see what happens. Whatever I get, of course, I'm grateful just to be able to practice my craft and display my skills. In this crazy time where people they can't do their sport or do their craft. So, wherever I'm at, I'll be happy. I mean,
Yeah.
main event.
For sure. I mean, they must have spoiled you a little bit with that main card, pay per view.
Yeah, big time. They're definitely spoiling with the main card. A lot of eyes on me. So now it'd be hard to go back, but of course I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And you're kind of talking about that quote before, and it made me think about something else. I saw it on your Instagram, but I saw you had posted a post and had a quote from John Kavanaugh on there about, not getting too low, after a loss and not getting too high, after a win. And obviously with that win you just had, I'm sure it'd be easy to get, pretty high, off of that, a lot of momentum. But is that something that you've been trying to implement more, just this kind of more like that kind of mindset, or is this something that maybe you've been, kind of practicing for a long time?
No, I think after I had lost a few years ago, whatever, how long ago that was, it just made me tweak some things in my mindset and just made me compartmentalize, like Phil the fighter and Megatron the athlete, and helps you get a full a wider hindsight
Mm-hmm.
of okay, you didn't get the performance you wanted, but let's go back to the drawing board and fix it. Okay, you lost, you won. It's all just a learning process, and just appreciate the process and just not be so how would you put it? Not be so fixated on the outcome is what
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to say. Whatever happens. You just do your best. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to stay there, but I'm just just not. It is what it is. You win, you lose, but you just learn. You learn, you just get better and keep doing it.
Yeah. Do you think that's what has kind of led to maybe your recent success too? Just that maybe taking some pressure off of your shoulders, before you go into these fights?
Yeah, I think so. Just learning that there's a difference between Megatron, the athlete, and Phil, who I am right now, who was talking to you.
Yeah.
Just difference, and just trusting the process that Phil's going to prepare Megatron for whatever he's got to do, and just letting it hang out. And just with the results going to take care of itself. We just got to focus on the process.
Yeah. And a quote like that too, when I was reading it and saw it on your thing, I mean, obviously I feel like your career is almost just like that too, right? Because, it's interesting too. I feel like you have an interesting story because not a lot of guys that are working their way up in the regional scenes too were talked about as much as you, because you were on the Ultimate Fighter, you were on that Dana White's Contender Series. So was it interesting for you that when you were kind of still working your way up to UFC, that you still had a lot of eyes on you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really big on not focusing on the controllables, and yeah, it's great to have these eyes and articles and interviews and all that, but I try not to pay too much attention. I try not to pay attention to everyone rap, because me and my team, I believe I truly am the best in the world, and it doesn't matter what people say. So like if someone writes an article, I won't read it. Like because it doesn't matter. Like negative, positive, I just can try to control what I control, and that's my mindset. So my mental. So like, good or bad, I'm not trying to focus on it. I'm just gonna focus on the process of getting better each day. So having a lot of eyes on me, it's a blessing, and it's something that we strive for in the sport. But I'm gonna look back at it when I retire. But right now, I just have to focus on what I have to do.
Yeah. I was just reading something interesting too about Dustin Jacoby, who just fought this past weekend too. And for 10 years, he was outside the UFC, but he never lost hope that he was going to get back in, and here he is. So for you too, and when you did have some of these, I guess the loss on Tough and the loss on Contender Series, was ever like, did you ever once think that maybe the UFC, maybe that's not going to happen?
Man, yeah, of course you have those nights, especially if you live in the area. You're from Jersey, so you live in an area like Hoboken or like or Jersey City, where you see everyone living like a more of a lavish lifestyle, and like their normal 9 to 5, but they're doing well and they got the houses and the cars. And you're like, man, I just I want that. I want to just be normal and just like have secure finances. And but man, you just gotta put it in perspective. Like, hey, we're not going to be here forever, so I'm gonna dedicate myself to this dream. And I'm 31. I'm gonna probably do this till I'm like 35. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna give everything I got till I'm 30. When I'm 35, I turn 35. It's not there. It's not gonna happen. But man, I really believe I'm gonna be the best in the world. I believe I am the best in the world. I believe I'm gonna be a world champion. So I just, as much as I doubt it, I had a great team around me that supported me, and now we're here.
Yeah. You talk about that lavish lifestyle. What was Abu Dhabi like? Because just seeing all the footage and things from there, that looks like pretty lavish living.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Yeah, so they fly us out business class, super nice. The hotel was ridiculous, of course. A little different than Bloodsport. I feel like Bloodsport was a little more third world country like, but this
Yeah.
but we had we were nice. We were treated really well. The beach was awesome and everything was like first class. So I really want to big up to those guys, the UFC, for doing it how they do. So
yeah. And you fought internationally before too. I think I saw that you fought in India and Slovenia and things like that. Like, well, how did this kind of compare to like as far as travel and stuff too? Just like the planes that I've seen for the Abu Dhabi thing, it's like almost looks like you have like a private room. Like,
yeah, it's not bad. We're not slumming it. What's man, I can't really thank Brave enough for that promotion that overseas. Man, they were awesome. Their format, they took the UFC format and just duplicated it. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but they just try to duplicate it. Got everything from the weigh-ins, from the interviews, from Bruce Buffer, their announcer is called the Roaring Lion. He's amazing too. So everything prepared me for that moment in the octagon. So I can't thank those guys enough. The travel was similar, 16-hour flights or whatever. So I was used to that and everything, getting my body adjusted. So I can't thank Brave enough for helping me with the international fights.
Yeah, it seems like Brave is getting more and more guys in there too. I recently watched, it might have been their most recent card. Sean Tantella, another Jersey guy, was on that card, fighting Shorty Torres on that. But that was one of the first ones I've actually watched of Brave, and I thought it was great. A very good production. They had a great preview show, and it too. I wasn't expecting that. It was really good production.
Yeah, I like I said, man, if I could redo it again, I would just probably try to. Of course, I went to LFA, but then I would try to go straight to Brave because they're just awesome promotion. They really prepare guys for the octagon and all the production. Exactly, you said, that's what the UFC is. It's like all the production, and it just gets you prepared for that mentally. So thank you, Brave, for having me.
Yeah. And now, as an amateur, I saw you had a 15-second knockout, but 18-second knockout in your UFC debut. I'll never get to know what that feels like. But so just kind of talk me through, what were the emotions like when all that kind of unfolded, if you can recall?
Man, see that's the tricky part of trying to when you visualize and try to manifest so much. So when it happened, it was just like, okay, it's supposed to happen. This is what's supposed to happen because I visualized and I train hard. So the joy is kind of like, oh, I've been here before. So it's not like, oh my God, how when people win, they jump around, they celebrate, they jump, they're just like. But for me, it's like, okay, you've been here before. This is what you're supposed to do. You get excited when you win the lottery because you're not supposed to. You know, I feel like those are celebrations those guys do. But me, it's like when you wake up in the morning, you're not like, you expect it.
Yeah.
So that's how victory is for me. I expect to win because I put in so much time and work. But the 18-second KO, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting 2 rounds. Maybe I get him out of there. He was a tough opponent, you know. Tough camp, Robert Whitaker. But man, it felt good. I felt like that hook. I've been working on my hook a lot, and I felt like that was going to be the punch to put him out, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm just blessed, fortunate.
Yeah. How many times have you been able to kind of go back and watch that too? I mean, because it was so short too, I would assume maybe a decent amount.
I watched like 2 or 3 times. Nothing too
Okay.
crazy. Yeah, it's in the past now. Now we got to keep progressing, keep building.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're talking about the lavish lifestyle and some things you want. And one thing I was kind of surprised about when the whole night was over that, you know, you didn't get performance of the night too. I mean, how shocked were you?
Bro, come on. I was hurting. I mean, it's cool. I don't need a house. It's fine. I don't need it. No, it's cool. Man, it's a lesson learned. I mean, I'm just blessed to compete. So like the 50 Gs would have been awesome, but like they gave it to a different guy. So I mean, it is what it is. I'm gonna keep fighting. I didn't come in the game for 50 Gs. I came in for millions, you know, and I came to be the best in the world. So the money's gonna come. I just gotta keep doing what I'm doing, knocking them out. So
yeah. I think especially when you're on a card too that has guys like Khabib and that too. I mean, that's obviously hard to compete with too, because even if maybe their win isn't technically as, you know, good as yours or things like that, you know, because they maybe have that bigger name or already a champion.
yeah.
You know. You know, so I'm not getting paid by UFC to say that, but
It's what it is.
yeah.
I mean, I'll do more fights. So
Yeah. And your recent striking, though, I mean, absolutely incredible to watch, especially those last 2 fights too. Has something like specifically like clicked for you? Like, was there a moment where, you know, just this kind of light bulb went on, or is that something that maybe just a progression of time, kind of now it's all kind of clicking?
I think it's a combination of both. I think, like you said, everything's starting to click. But also, after my last defeat, I found out there was a hole in my striking, you know. And I went to Thailand, lived over there for a couple months. Did some Thai boxing fights, came back, did some kickboxing fights at Madison Square Garden, which is a huge arena. And then I got my new boxing coach, Danny Carb, and he helps me a lot with my hands and just my confidence in striking. And like, I really picked up on boxing a lot. Like, I feel like a lot of MMA guys, we do a lot of kickboxing sparring, a lot of MMA sparring, which is cool. But I feel like boxing sparring gets you the most prepared with your anxiety, because you don't know, when you go to a boxing gym, you don't know who you're going to spar. You never sparred them before, and they're coming and knock your block off, which is like an actual fight. So just all the things, like you said, they're all starting to click right now. So my hands are on point.
Yeah. How many times did you actually fight in MSG too? Because I actually saw your Bellator fight in there. It was I forget what number card it was, but I think it was McDonald and Gracie with the headliner.
Yeah, I opened that card up. It was I fought once at the Hulu Theater and then once at MSG. So
okay, that's pretty awesome, though. You know, historic stadium for sure. And one thing about one of the last things too, I want to touch on this last fight you had with Jacob Malkoun too. Obviously, I know, you know, I'm sure you, like you said, you have a lot of confidence in yourself that you're, one of the best in the world. Going against a guy like Malkoun too, who was going to his debut, did you feel like it was a mismatch there? Because just looking on paper, it didn't look like he had fought the competition that you had fought, let alone, you know, not even having as many as fights either.
Man, it was a weird situation because okay, so he trains with Whitaker.
Mm-hmm.
Whitaker was on the card, and I got the blue gloves. So in my mind, it's like, okay, do on paper it may be like Phil's got the upper hand, but I'm in the blue locker room and they got Whitaker. Of course, they want Jacob to win because it gives Whitaker momentum. You know, that's what I felt. But I don't know, like now in retrospect, because as I was trying to get in the UFC, I think it was 4-0 at the time, and I was trying to get in the UFC. I think a lot of people try to rush the process of trying to get at the table with the killers. You know, like when you're 4-0, just take your time. You know, you're gonna get there. Because once you get in the UFC, everyone's a killer. Every fight is a tough fight, and you don't want to rush that. You know, so get some tough wins in your belt, battle some adversity, and then get your time in there. But I wouldn't take anything away from Jacob, man. He was tough. He's got a tough camp. He's training with a world champion, you know, so his confidence got to be through the roof.
Yeah. No, I think that's like perfect what you said too, because you think about a couple guys come to my mind too when you think. I mean, I just brought him up earlier too, but like Jacoby too is a guy who, you know, I remember he was saying too that, you know, he obviously, I think he only had like 2 fights in the UFC, was out pretty quick. I mean, he obviously spent 10 years out to get back in, but you think about all, you know, what he learned from those 2 fights, and then everything that, you know, just kind of keep building up from there. I mean, it is pretty incredible to see some of these guys that maybe they don't have the best, you know, first UFC stint, but some of these guys do, you know, get to come back around. Like Daniel Pineda, I think, is another guy who's done it recently too. So
Yeah.
it's cool to watch.
Gee, crazy.
And you know, with you too, like, you know, you got the highlight reel, you know, knockout in this one, UFC debut. I mean, all great things. But to be able to be on that card with Khabib, I mean, is that anything that's like special to you that, you know, I mean, as of right now, it seems like it could be his last fight. So do you take anything from that, you know, you're kind of part of, you know, historic card in that, right? No,
Yeah.
not so much.
Hey, and I don't, like I always say, like every fighter thinks their fight is the most important fight in the world, you know. But I'm sure when I look back and I look at the fight card, I'm like, oh crap, I was a piece of history. But right now I'm just living in it, and it's hard to really look back like, okay, you know, he did this, and like, so of course I'm blessed and I'm fortunate to be a part of the history, but right now I'm not focusing on that. So
Yeah. And now, obviously, you know, in your division too, you got that win, but I just saw that it looks like Jan Blachowicz is going to end up Adesanya's bumping up to fight him. What do you kind of make of that too? That, you know, even for some of these guys that like the Hermansons and the Tills and stuff too, that all have fights, you know, right now it's kind of, I think, a big question mark there of when will they get that next shot if Adesanya does go up a division.
man, like I said before, I just try to focus on the controllables. Like I can't control when Adesanya fights Joanne or whatever his name is, you know, like I'm gonna let when the dust settles, I'm gonna be here and I'm still gonna be climbing up the ranks. So like I'm gonna let them do what they're gonna do, but eventually it's gonna be my time, and when it's my time, it's gonna be my time for a while. So they can do what they want, but when I'm there, like I'm there, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about controllables before I let you go too. I mean, obviously that next fight too, you said, you know, maybe possibly before the end of the year. Anyone that really stands out in this division that you would like to fight?
Man, no, I don't. There's no one that comes up. That's for my manager to decide. Really, he knows I don't turn down fights. He brings the name to the table. I'm like, okay, when and where, and that's how we settle it. So I really don't pick fights. I don't think I have to right now. But I feel like I feel like my projection is just up, and we're just gonna climb fast. So I'm gonna fight as much as possible, climb the rankings, and touch the title as fast as possible. So
awesome. And yeah, great. And before I let you go, Phillip, anything you want to add? The floor is yours.
No, not really. I just want to take the time. Thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
No, all right, great. All right, Phil, thank you so much for your time. And nice talking to a fellow Jersey guy for sure. And I wish nothing but the best. And I hope that you do get a fight before the end of the year. I'd love to see you again, especially after that last one as well. So thank you so much, Phil. And I wish you nothing but the best.